We're very lucky to have Peter speak to us today. He's is the title president?
Yes.
President of the Chamber here in Temple City. He's going to give us an update on what's happening. Peter, thank you.
Thank you, Mike, and the gang. Generally when it comes to clubs and organizations like the Kiwanis, I'm always reminded of the old Groucho Marx line, I wouldn't want to belong to a club that would have me for a member. But seeing that I'm not a member of the Kiwanis, obviously this is a club with very high standards and good taste. So thank you for having me here. I'm Peter Choi. I'm the president and CEO of the Temple City Chamber of Commerce. I've been there for a year and a half. And the chamber, there are people here who have been involved in the chamber. Matt, Jerry, Tom, and others. And so they're familiar. There are people that may not be as familiar. So I'm trying to calibrate my remarks to kind of cover everything. The chamber was founded in March of 1924. Next year will be our 90th anniversary. It's an institution in the city. Even though it's the city's leading business organization, it also has a special role of leadership in the community. And certainly our membership reflects that. We're not just businesses. We're clubs like the Kiwanis. We're nonprofits. We're Pregnancy Health Center. We're local churches. And you can see it all in the back of Temple City Life, where we have our business directory. But you'll see a lot of groups and organizations that see the benefit of membership in the chamber to help promote and grow their business. And that is the essential, guiding directive of the Chamber of Commerce. People join because they see a benefit in joining together, and our goal is to help promote and grow your business, whatever it is. Butcher shop, Gateway Shopping Center, Denny's, whatever it is. That's what it's about. Very quickly, I didn't realize there was a bio required. I would love to fill out the student's bio, that might be amusing. But I always say that the one thing you can know about people is what TV shows they watch, and so I'll tell you that the 4 shows that I watch religiously are The Good Wife, Survivor, Walking Dead, and House of Cards. And before I go on, I just want to acknowledge my predecessor, Linda Payne, who was a big force in the chamber. She was running it for over a decade. I don't think she gets the credit she deserves, especially for leading it through the recession. And her spirit is still there. And I just saw her the other day, and she's been a fantastic person. The past year and a half, the chamber has really started focusing more specifically on the business community. But even as we do that and focus our limited time and resources on that area, we still engage very much with other organizations. I don't think in the past year and a half when people have called to ask for our help, our support, our help in promotion, or et cetera, I don't think I've ever said no. Because we do publish our chamber business newsletter, Temple City Life, which is the city's de facto community newspaper, the only newspaper devoted specifically to Temple City. And so, before I go on, I want to say, if anybody has news, our goal is not just to reach our 250 members, but to reach the 35,000 residents of the city. So when people send in a report of their kid making Eagle Scout, when we hear stories about a couple's 65th anniversary, which you'll see in the paper today, actually. Thank you, Jerry. We love to publish that stuff. So don't think that it's just business when it comes to Temple City Life. If you have news that you think of interest to the community, especially here at the Kiwanis Club, you're doing a fish fry, a fundraiser, send it in. The deadline is the 20th of each month. So individually or as a group, send it in. We love to get information and send it out to the community. We think it makes the paper more interesting to read. A lot of the certificate presentation pictures of 4 people standing like this, those people already know what happened. It's interesting to them. We want to carry stories that are interesting to the city, and the 35,000 residents will read it and patronize the business members that take out ads and help us with the paper. We have a new website, so check that out as well to find out what we're doing. Like our Facebook page. We're always going to the new social media. And again, we like to help the community. Just last night at our board meeting, Nanette Fish, the executive director of the Camellia Festival and Parade, was there. We help them every year. We open up our office and we support them with promotion. It's not just the month before the event. St. Luke's Fiesta came by when they were doing their event, and I kind of coordinated out 4 months in advance. They wanted to take an ad out. And I said, look, I love to sell ads and I love to take your money, but let's save that for the last month when the visual ad can make an impact. 4 months previous, let's write an article with photos from last year with sponsorships and ask for sponsorships because that's what you're looking for now. The next month, we sent out a notice about participants, exhibitors, things like that. And then finally the last month, they pasted the ad, but we also put an article next to it so they get double the bang. And this is, I just share this with you because you may be involved with other areas in the city, and just always think of Temple City Life as a resource. You don't have to be a chamber member to get your stories in there. So if it helps you promote, again, Sportsman's Club Fish Fry, whatever it might be, a First Baptist Church summer school, send it in. We love to get that stuff. 20th of each month. With the Chamber of Commerce, we're a membership-driven organization. We are a nonprofit. And generally with Chambers of Commerce, the rule of thumb is you want to have a 20% penetration into the city's business community. So, and it's interesting in Temple City because this is, as many of you know, a great place to live. Great school standards, low crime. In fact, the Sheriff's Department is always saying, we need to get more businesses into the Business Watch program. And I always tell Rick and everybody, well, the thing is that you're blessed by having a low crime rate, so it's not high on the business radar. If there was a lot of graffiti, theft, shoplifting, then they'd be jamming your business meetings. But the low turnout is a testament to the good work you sheriffs do. And so when it comes to 20% penetration, in Temple City, it's about 90% residential, 10% business. We don't have a major, what they call a niche attraction, a Santa Anita Mall, a racetrack, a movie theater complex. But my thing is, I don't like to spend time whining about what we don't have. And I like to talk when I have meetings with the city, when I talk to our board, talk about what we do have and how we build on it. With 900 businesses in the city, a 20% penetration would be about 180 members. We are at over 250, so we're doing very well, especially compared to other chambers. And a lot of that is just to focus on the fiscal bottom line, like any organization, whether it's the Kiwanis Club or a Chamber of Commerce or anybody else. You got to be fiscally sound, you got to have some money in the bank for the rainy day, and then you can focus on expanding out and doing the programs. And I'm just kind of go through some of those programs really quickly. I'm trying to go quickly because Jerry always complains I talk too long. So I'm going to try to keep it brief and then take questions afterwards, which I understand is the MO here. A big testament to how we're doing is, what I really like is when members come back to the chamber. We've been here 90 years, as I said, but when they come back, it's a testament that there's something else going on, there's new energy. So besides last year's like Applebee's rejoining, having dropped out, we have members coming back in, like people you may know. Linda Jo Pyle rejoined the chamber. We have members who have been members but not active, like our local dentist, Dr. Jack Bonbulo. He is back in, he's writing articles for the paper. So I love that kind of rejoining in an active way, and I think you guys understand that. That's what any organization wants. And we do this without really sending it out. It's like the word gets out and people see what we're doing, the visible, active action. There are members like Frank Rudell and people like that. We do have a new board. The board of directors of a Chamber of Commerce is different than any other board, because by definition, a business board, they're all business people. They're all working. Like our local city council, a great bunch of 5, 3 of them are retired, so they have the time to really devote to making the city a greater place. The Chamber of Commerce, all the board members have jobs. And the fact that they can even step up and serve on the board is a great thing, because they're working. But again, they see the value of promoting the chamber that way. And the fact that they then step up to be on the executive board and take a more hands-on approach is a great thing as well. And we have Rita, the breadth and diversity of our board. We have a local realtor, Rita Padilla, who's also a resident of Temple City. Jane Chavez, who many of you may know, who's the executive director of the Pregnancy Help Center. Margaret Healy, who's been a long-time member, who's with Quality Bookkeeping. Ed Chen of Athens Services, who I believe is a member here. Nicholas Pond of Wells Fargo Bank, Chisum Tan, a local financial analyst, Jim Walden of First Baptist Church, Brian Barretto of California American Water. This is a broad group, and they bring different points of view in, and it engages in a lively discussion. I always tell the board it's like Las Vegas. What happens in the boardroom stays in the boardroom, and it allows a free conversation, because in a city like Temple City, where there's a lot of overlapping Venn diagram circles of activity, can be a lot of conversation. And you want to be free to spend your view on what the issue is, knowing that everybody's going to respect that and the majority will rule. What have we been doing lately? September 26th, we did a small business walking tour of local businesses with our state senator, Dr. Ed Hernandez. We picked 6 businesses on Temple City Boulevard, starting with Ladd Dentistry, who just did a grand reopening because Sanjay Ladd, the son, has joined his dad, Dr. Chiman Ladd, in a father-son dentist practice. They've been serving here for over 30 years. So we started there. We walked with the state senator to Sheen Dance Academy, to Eddie Jabrowski at Cal's Jewelers, Bright Eye Care Optometry, and then ended up at El Ruiseñor Grill, which is where the old Beto's Grill used to be, a new Mexican restaurant. They do great food. They do Oaxacan cuisine, which is all about their mole sauces. They're fantastic. It was very nice. We also help our members, and when they step up and they need our help. For instance, the Gateway Project, the long delayed and the constantly dirt pushing site over there that we get more questions about than anything, are now in the phase where they're looking for retail tenants. And my joke is because our office is right across from the Gateway, and I look out my window when I see it, and I literally would think, are they just moving dirt from the left to the right?
Yeah.
Is this just a show for investors?
And up and down.
I don't know. But the fact is they're actually digging in, and you are
Right, yeah.
having like parking lot spaces being done. So I said, well, that's real digging. Because moving dirt, I don't know, is that a show for investors? I don't know. But they're finally actually digging in. If you peek over the little fence, you'll see that. They reached out there. We're helping them reach out to find tenants. They're going to be anchored by a tenant and see others. That's something we're helping them with. Coming up on Monday, October 21st, is our annual installation award ceremony. Now, these can often be, last year we did it big style, as sometimes you do at the San Gabriel Hilton Ballroom, big rubber chicken dinner, big round table. You end up talking to your wife and the person on the other side. You don't really get to talk to the people on the other side. The 200 people in the room, you never really get to meet. And so our goal was to have people get to chat more, have more of an atmosphere like you guys have here. And chit chat. In fact, the assembly member Mike Eng was there. He showed up. He's our Congressman Judy Chu's husband. And I said, oh, while you're here, I'll give you a seat at a table and you can join. And his thing was, oh, no, I never sit down. I like to show up for the reception, meet everybody, and then 23 skidoo, I'm out of here. So I said, oh, that's an interesting idea. I like that idea. And so this year we're going differently. Jambala Antiques is a Chinese antique store in Las Tunas, a new business, big space. They have everything from Ming vases to replica Ming vases. One costs a lot, one is affordable. But they have all sorts of jewelry, antiques, screens. It's a really great space, almost a museum. It's a big space. So we're doing a cocktail reception. Wine hors d'oeuvres, quick ceremony, 4 honorees, do the speechifying, get it over with, and everybody gets to eat the sushi. And cream puffs from Beard's Papa was another new member of ours. They do these cream puffs in the same way that Cinnabon does cinnamon rolls. So we're doing it there, and what I like about those events, it's kind of like when you get to go to an event at the aquarium or the museum. There's actually things to talk about, so if you meet somebody you don't know, instead of saying, who are you, what brings you here, you can kind of talk about the manatee or the painting and have a conversation, start that engagement. A lot of it is that social engagement. We're honoring Nick Pond of Wells Fargo. He's our former board chairman. He led us through a difficult period of the past 2 years. And also went with me when we went on our trip to Shanghai, China to talk to investors for this project. He's just a great person to have. He was here at the Temple City branch, and now he's the district director, works out of South Pasadena, still on the board. Herbert Chen of GP Wedding Studio over here in Las Tunas. Oscar Bustamante and Xin Yue of the Sheen Dance Academy. And Guppy House Restaurant, David Lee, right over here. It's a great restaurant. I personally like it because contrary to what people may think, I am not Chinese. I am Korean. So like you, I don't understand a lot of the language, and I'm assimilating myself to this new culture because we're very different. Also, how we have coming up, Microsoft. We have a Microsoft seminar on Wednesday, October 23rd. This is for members, but I'd like to extend to you guys, if anybody's interested, please join us. I'll call the chamber for information. It's a seminar we provide to our members about new technology. This one is on Windows 8. And if you, like me, have a computer and have Windows 8, and like me, hate it and can't figure it out, this seminar will be great. But you also get to ask questions about other computer stuff as well. 11 to 1 on October 23rd on Wednesday, here at the Chamber Boardroom. We're also working with the Future Business Leaders of America Club of Temple City High School. And we're restarting a junior Chamber of Commerce program. These kids need volunteer hours, so instead of pouring lemonade or something, let's give them something real that they're interested in. These are really smart kids. I'm meeting them again next week. And we're going to start a volunteer program at the Chamber. And part of the thing that I want to share with you is, if you, like me, have a smartphone, we text, we send messages, we take photos. Kids, meaning anybody under 20, are doing 500 things on that smartphone, way beyond what I can even imagine. And so one of the things that we're looking forward to do, and you're welcome to come by, is have these kids, the FBLA kids, teach a seminar on the smartphone, and then you can get 10, 15 minutes one-on-one time, and they will show you how to do things like this. I went to an event and I said, oh, can I get your contact information? And the guy took my phone, he did this, he took a picture, and he gave it back to me, which means that every time he calls, his face shows up on my cell phone. And I went, wow, you did that so quick, in like 20 seconds. This is the kind of thing that I think kids can teach adults like us, because they know this stuff. They live in this world.
Yeah.
We basically take photos. So this is the kind of stuff we're looking at. And it's very focused and easy to do. That's a big part of it. We have a small staff. It's me and one person slash receptionist in the office. So we don't have an army of 20 or a big city department. So we're always looking at ways to get things done that are helpful to people in a business way. We have value-added programs, yada, yada, yada. We do a chamber mail, which is a direct mail. Temple City, great place to live. Houses sell very quickly. New homeowners often don't know their favorite pizza place yet. They may not have a bank account. They don't know the locksmith. Where do they get basic things? So chamber mail gets a list of new homeowners and new renters, and they send out a list, and it's available to our members. So that way you get them right when they've arrived in Temple City, and if you're the pizza place they go to first, you may be the pizza place for the rest. If you're Rose Donuts and they get donuts in the morning, you may be that place. They haven't settled their taste yet, so you have a chance to get that, engage that. That's one of the programs, doing Office Depot program. We work with the city a little bit. The city has an energy cap level. They want to conserve energy. It's something they're going to be rolling out. We, on the business end, are doing an energy efficiency program with our businesses. You apply, they come into a free energy check, change your light bulbs for fluorescence, seal the doors. They check what you can do. They give you an energy report. Now, if you're a flower shop and you have a refrigerator and it's from the 1970s, it's burning up energy. So they will help you get a business loan to get a new refrigerator. That's energy conservation. That's just one example. It's all dependent on your churches, schools, they will all benefit from this. But the main thing is you get a free energy check and they give you a list. Then after that, it's up to you whether you want to engage more. It's just something we give out, and that's going on right now as well. I'm almost to the end, Jerry. We have an RX card program where if you use it, you get a discount on your medical prescriptions. We have a Goldman Sachs 10,000 businesses mini MBA program. We have a boardroom, by the way, which is about this size, seats about 12 to 20. And it's available for rent. So if anybody ever, because this city doesn't have, as you guys know, because, it used to be a Pahuka, which I loved. I know some people always, making remarks, but I love that place. And in fact, we had our holiday party there last year. And now we're here in Denny's. If you need a boardroom, we have one in the chamber. It's $50 for 3 hours, $35 for members. We have state-of-the-art, we have Wi-Fi, we have a TV screen. We have coffee and water and everything you need for a good meeting, so use it. You don't have to be a member, and people do.
But if you are a member, it's free.
It's 50 if you're not a member, and 35 if you are.
If you're an attorney, it's 100.
That's right. Well, actually, one of our attorney members does. We have a member who's an attorney in Beverly Hills, but then he's a local guy. And so he came back and he does cases here, even though he works out of Beverly Hills. And when he meets here, he has a small office, just like an answering machine office, basically. So when he meets clients, he needs a place to meet, and he uses our boardroom. So actually, we do have that. We're working with Southern California Gas. They're rolling out advanced smart meters that are more technologically advanced. We'll be helping the business community with that. We do things like trips to Spain. We have a bunch of Temple Cityans who are off in the south of Spain right now visiting castles. And of course, again, we put out Temple City Life, 12 issues a year. It's deadline driven. And again, the 20th of each month, send in photos, news, we love the pictures. Essentially, the main thing is that if it's good for the business community, then the Chamber of Commerce is interested in it. And that's the message we want to get out. It's that simple. If it's good for the business community, let us know, we'll work with you. We worked on the Full Moon Happy Family Street Festival last year. We're in conversation with a different group about a Lunar New Year festival. There's a Chinese Lunar New Year festival on February 1st. And again, I'm not Chinese. But what I always say is, I'm not Mexican. On Cinco de Mayo, I'll eat tacos and drink a cerveza. And I'm not Irish. But, on St. Patrick's Day, I'll wear green and drink a beer and not get pinched. And I appreciate the St. Patrick's Day parade in New York City, where I spent a part of my childhood. So the same way with the Lunar New Year festival, I'm not Chinese. I don't understand the lyrics to the songs they sing, but I appreciate that culture. I I appreciate the funky food. And so, and that's a big part of it, to reach out and get these communities together. And that is really it. Thank you again for having me here. I'm a phone call away at the chamber. When I go to events, I tell people, you don't need my business card. I'm the easiest one to find. Just call the Temple City Chamber of Commerce, ask for Peter Choi. And whether it's about these things or other things that you may have ideas about, whether it's the Kiwanis or individually or other things you do in the community, contact us. The final thing I'll say is I know that Jerry wants speakers, and I hear here today as well. And who is the point person for speakers? Is it Jerry, or is there somebody else who? Okay.
Mike Our
Because
Vice President, name only.
And name only.
Because what we can do is I can talk to you, and then maybe when you have gaps and you really want to have a speaker, we can look at who our members are and see if there's somebody who might have a thing of interest. You know, and again, you can even look at the back of Temple City Life and you see all our directory categories by churches and nonprofits, and you might be able to pull out people and just call them directly. But I'm happy to do that as well, and just kind of give you a short list and reach out. And you know, it could be Jim Walden of First Baptist Church. It could be anybody like that. So
This group really would probably need it.
and they'll be great. So thank you very much, everybody. And did anybody have any questions? Yes.
I do.
Oh, what is your business?
Oh well. Let's see the bio. It's a long and twisty bio. My dad was a diplomat, and so I grew up around the world. I'm actually a local native Californian. My mom was a doctor at Long Beach, but I was born in Fresno, California, because my dad was in law school, and so she went to Fresno where she knew people who could help her with the birth. So I was born in Fresno, California, home of Raisins and William Saroyan. And then I grew up around the world, in India, in Egypt, in Morocco, in Jamaica. But I went back to school in Massachusetts. After I graduated, I came out to LA. 3 days after arriving in LA, I was at my first job, which was on the set of the TV show Heart to Heart with Robert Wagner and Stephanie Powers, right, that show. I can tell you stories about that, I'll tell you later. Good stories. And so I've been a member of the Directors Guild for over 30 years. And I rose to the ranks and, you know, went on to do other stuff. I worked on the original Beverly Hills 90210. I worked on the original Karate Kid movie. There are stories I can tell you about that. But, and then what happened was a lot of the filming was going out of state. And after spending 6 weeks on location in Richmond, Virginia, shooting a Civil War movie with Chris Christopherson as Abraham Lincoln, and all the kids were in the hotel bar having drinks at night and hooking up, which is what you should do when you're in your 20s. But I was married and in the hotel room watching Law & Order reruns, and I thought, this is not happening, 6 weeks away. And so I want to change your life. My wife and I opened our own business in Silver Lake, a gift boutique. And she'd been a very successful marketing executive at K-Rock Radio and other radio stations. So then, as a result of that, I joined the Silver Lake Chamber of Commerce, became the chairman of the board during a period of transition from thrift stores and taco stands to $12 coffees and hip boutiques. And I really enjoyed that work. When the recession happened, the whole retail economy tanked. And I told my wife, our goal was not to be, you know, a mom and pop shop. It was to expand and grow big, be the restoration hardware of gift shops kind of thing. That's why we had built this whole Silver Lake brand equity and worked on it. But when the recession tanked, I knew that the whole middle was gone. Gucci, Prada, Lexus, doing great. All the Kardashians will keep on shopping. The bottom, Walmart, Target, 99-cent store, also doing well. But all the stores in the middle having a very tough time, still having a very tough time, because even the first thing people say is, what kind of store would you like? They go, I'd like to have a bookstore. Bookstore, we can go and browse and find books. But the truth is, bookstores, the retail margin is very tough. And you can't sell books. If a book costs 25 bucks, you're going to sell it for 49 bucks at your independent bookstore, the cute kind that you like Broman's or something. But the problem is, if a book's $25, Amazon will sell it for 25 and a penny, because they can sell millions and make money and undercut the independent bookstore. So a lot of people have an emotional resonance for like a bookstore, an independent bookstore, but they will eventually go online to Amazon and shop. Same thing for electronics. You may walk around Best Buy to touch and feel, but then you're going to go on Amazon and get that flat screen TV for a couple of $100 less. And that's the problem. People are shopping online, which is a problem for brick and mortar retail. That's something that's in transition. We'll see how that shakes out. And so anyway, I told my wife, I need to get a job. I need to do something else, and this position popped up. And I said, I really like doing this in Silver Lake. I'm going to try it here. The numbers are similar, and so that's how I ended up here. I interviewed, got this position, enjoying it very much, and doing these things and other things as well. But this is just a snapshot of what we're doing like right around this period. And that's how I ended up here. And I live not in Temple City, but in Eagle Rock in Los Angeles. It's a great commute. But as I always say, I don't have a business in Temple City. I don't live in Temple City. So I have no conflict of interest. If you see me around town, I'm here for the Chamber of Commerce. You know, and it's actually very pleasant because when I was in Silver Lake, not only did I have a business, but I lived there as well. So as a homeowner, I had different concerns. If you're a homeowner and somebody's opening up a cardio barre aerobics studio on your street, you may not want it. You may not want people parking on your street when they go to aerobics class 3 times a day. But as a business chamber person, you want to encourage that kind of business growth. And so that's always a balance that you have to handle. For me here in Temple City, I'm blessed because I can focus on the chamber, what's good for the business community, without my own personal home property values coming into the equation, or even my own business. Silver Lake, they have a whole thing about parking meters. Do you want them in front of your store or do you not want them in front of your store? Businesses like retail want parking meters because you want turnover every half hour so people can pop in and buy a gift and leave. Hair salons, massage parlors, they want the customers to stay 2 or 3 hours, get the full treatment, the mud wrap, the shower, the manipetta, everything. So they don't like parking meters. They want you to stay for 2 or 3 hours. And those are just kind of 2 specific examples, but there are a lot of variations in there. And so those kind of concerns I don't have to focus on as a chamber president here. I can just look at the big picture and say, look, what's the greater goal? What's the balance of businesses on that block when these kinds of issues come up?
Suppose, this is off the cuff, so.
Yes.
Suppose that Kiwanis is a brand new business in Temple City. What would you encourage us to do
Well, the first thing,
to get people to know we're here?
Well, first thing I would encourage you to do is join the Chamber of Commerce because we only help our members. When people come into our office and they want a locksmith, we recommend our members. When they want a realtor, we give them a list of local realtors. So the same thing, when a business joins the Chamber, the very first thing we do is a new member profile in Temple City Life. Because you have one chance to make a first impression. So that's the whole thing. You want to hit the ground running, and also you're really pepped up and excited. You're not jaded and cynical yet. You're excited about this thing. So we put a profile in the paper, a new member profile, and then we work with them on a grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony. These things sometimes can seem kind of frivolous, like, oh, it's just a photo op and they're cutting a ribbon, but it means a lot to the business owner. They've worked really hard to open that business, and then it gives them something to be excited about, and then it also gives them, us and them, more pictures to share on Facebook, on social media, on Temple City Life, an email blast, and it acknowledges that they have arrived and they're open, which is no small thing. And then through the course of the time, I have sat down with many business owners. Every business is different. A real estate is different than a flower shop, is different than a church, or is different than St. Luke's Fiesta. So I talk with them, I say, what is your doing, who are you trying to reach in terms of your demographic? Who's going to be shopping at your business, for instance? And then we try to figure out ways to get out to there. And we also introduce them to other business members that may be helpful to what they do. And that is a big part of what we do.
And let me just put it into Kiwanis. I want to spread Kiwanis with their thought of helping children and the future of children, etc. What would I do? I want to start a Kiwanis, say, here in Temple City.
You want to start a Kiwanis here in Temple City?
And it would be a service club now, so maybe this is out of what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, we do, but again, that's a different approach.
I know it is.
And so what we do is, again, Temple City Life, get the word out to the community. When we have our quarterly mixer, I always invite people to come up and share 5 or 10 minutes, just do broad strokes and bullet points.
So we could do that?
Totally, you could. You're a member. And so if you want to start a Kiwanis, you say 5 or 10 minutes, I want to start a Kiwanis club, this is what I want to do. And I always say keep it short and interesting, because longer than 5 minutes, people's eyes glaze over and they start eating their chicken.
Right.
So just do the broad strokes. If anybody in the room is interested, they will find you in the corner afterwards and say, hey, what about the Kiwanis club? I belong to one in Ohio, I belong to one in San Bernardino. I'd like to step up and do that.
Okay.
And then also you can look through our directory and I can work with you and say, who are the other groups that may have overlapping people who may have interest in what you're doing? There are other service clubs. We may hook you up with the Sportsman's Club. There might be people there that are concurrent with what your goal is. Who's your demographic? Do you want people of a certain age? Do you want men and women? And reach out to that way as well. And then just really promote you. And if you ever have a debut event, we're having a fundraiser because we want to start a Kiwanis Club. We're doing, a thing at Applebee's. Then we'll blast that out in email. We'll put that in the paper as well and try to get people to come to that so you can start that thing going. But it's always different for every group, and it's what they want to do.
I'm going to be in to see you.
Oh,
I'm in.
yes.
There's a lot of empty stores in Temple City.
Yes.
Can you contact the owners of the properties and ask them what they're doing as far as, maybe they're asking for too much rent or?
Actually, no. The rents are actually a little lower than comparable rents around. The issue with a lot of the empty
That's a good
spaces.
selling point.
It is a great selling point, and also our location is great. People, again, I don't want to hear whining about we don't have a movie theater, we don't have a museum. What I want to hear is people talk about that we are in the center of the San Gabriel Valley. We're economically strong because there's Chinese money coming in, and this is an upscale neighborhood. We're passing the San Marino, Temple City. And so we're right in the center. We're equidistant from the 134 and the 10. We're the gateway into the San Gabriel Valley. This area of the western San Gabriel Valley is economically on good ground. The eastern San Gabriel Valley going to Redlands Riverside, not so much. And so that's what we talk about. When it comes to those spaces that you're talking about, the big problem is that a lot of those spaces are not 900 square foot spaces. They're like 2,500 square foot spaces. So it's not good enough. You need 900 to make some money in this retail economy. 2,500 is too big. Actually, Jambala Antiques, where we're having our event, is one of those bigger spaces, but they've got a lot of screens and couches and furniture and ivory that they need that space for. But a lot of other businesses don't. The other issue is that because of property taxes, a lot of these owners have owned these buildings for a long time. I actually met one. I've met a few, and he's retired, lives out in Big Bear. And I said, what about your space? Can we help you fill it up? And he goes, I'm retired. I'm just sitting on this property, and at some point I'll sell it and it'll go to my kids' inheritance. But dealing with tenants and having to schlep down from Big Bear, where I'm having a good retirement, and schlep down to Temple City and deal with the problematic tenant is not worth the time of the rent. And that is one of the issues. However, so there's not a motivation on the landlord's thing. It's unusual to me. Any other place I've been, the minute the rental space is empty, a big yellow sign goes up that says, for lease, contact this number. And then there's like a half dozen people applying for that space. It doesn't really happen in Temple City. You see empty storefronts and no signage. And so there's two things about that really quickly. One is that we're starting with the Temple City. We're going to start trying to work with these property owners and put in Temple City Life that these spaces are available and be a clearinghouse for that kind of information to spread that word. But again, the issue is that the landlord, property owner, has to want to take the time to handle that. The good news is the spaces are filling up. They are filling up. And even the big ones. Very quickly somebody came in and said there's a place on Temple City, off Temple City and Las Tunas on Las Tunas Drive, and they've got wine. And I went, wow, great, wine. I want them to join and we'll have an event there. But they've got wine and suitcases. And so I went, that's very strange. So I go into the place and they have expensive wine, lowest bottle, $45 and up. I'm going, who in Temple City is buying $45 bottles of wine? I mean, that's a lot, And they had vitamins and jewelry and suitcases. And so I asked them, exactly, what is your business model? Who's this? And the owner told me, actually, our customers are not locals. They're Chinese tourists that come in, go to Disneyland and Universal Studios, and before they head back to China, they need to buy presents for their friends. Chinese don't trust the vitamins and nutritional supplements in China because they could be placebos, there's no quality control, so they trust American vitamins. And that's why you see a lot of vitamins and nutrition supplement stores around this area, because the Chinese buy them and send them back to the folks back home. So what they do is they go in, they buy jewelry, they buy some California wine, they buy nutritional supplements, and they buy a rolling suitcase, and they dump it all in, and they roll to LAX and fly back home. So, but that's one business that was able to take that kind of space. And again, every business is different.